Shalom. Call Halayim La Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Essential Shalom to 144,001 Now I'm going to go into this so-called double moon that's supposedly about to grace the skies. And of course, the Fed rate cuts. I'm going to go over what it means and connect all this to scriptures. Before I play this video, the image on the right, or left I should say, and the right, are both photoshopped. Well, the one on the right might be real, but
this is
the one on the
Dabu
left
7.
is photoshopped.
And for those unaware,
So without
we have
further
two
ado,
big celestial events going down here within the next month or so. One begins with a bright comet that is approaching us. This is Comet Atlas. It has just emerged from behind the sun, and they thought it was going to fall apart, and it's not. So this is going to become very bright in the weeks ahead. It's at a plus magnitude right now, but they're saying that it could go to a negative magnitude here around October 9th. And what that means is that the comet could be visibly seen in broad daylight. So somewhere around the 9th, the sun's forward scattered sunlight is going to be hitting the dust of this thing, and it's really going to brighten it up in the sky. So mid-October, going to be very visible for people to see. Then we have another event. We have what they're calling a second moon or a mini moon event that's taking place. This is an asteroid that's coming in, this 2024 PT5, which is larger than any other so-called mini moon that we've seen. This thing is said to come into our orbit, and it's very odd. It's going to revolve around Earth in a horseshoe shape from September 29th all the way to November 25th, around Thanksgiving. That's very interesting. The characteristics of this thing, the way that it's coming in, what it's doing, how long it's hanging out before it decides to take off. We're going to keep an eye on this if we get any images or anything like that. It decides to take off. We're going to keep an eye on this if we get any images or anything like that.
Alright, so you heard it there. Now, we're going to see if this truly plays out. If there's such a large so-called comet in the sky, we'll see. Could be deception, could be fake news. You know, there's a lot of fake news. A lot of fake news, man, that's out here. The majority of news, or I should say information on social media, is fake to begin with. So, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, and verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So regardless if this comet, so-called comet, is real or not, we know that the Heavenly Father is going to send peculiar and strange signs in the heavens. Let's get Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21 and verse 25. And it says the return of a Mashiach. So this is when Yahweh Shai returns for that mass deliverance and mass kill-off. This is Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. So we haven't really seen any signs besides like eclipses, blood moons. The sun, from what I can remember, the sun hasn't done anything yet by itself. But we had the solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, and the moon be changing color. I remember one time I saw the moon. It was orange, not even blue, red. It was straight up orange, yellow, red. Seen videos and heard of it being blue, changing colors because the moon is used a lot for times. A omen. Omen is another way of saying sign. And in the stars, from my understanding, we haven't seen anything in particular that the stars have done. The stars haven't did anything out of the ordinary. They're just stationary and twinkling, so to speak. So the Heavenly Father is going to turn this thing up, man. And a lot of people are going to be shocked, fear, dismayed. Let's continue. And upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Now let's go to, and of course, the people represents those waters as well. Let's get that word dismayed, distress, Salakia, distress in that Greek, holding together, narrow, the contracting part of a way, anguish, anxiety. So people are going to be they're not going to be able to take the confusion that's about to come upon the earth. You're going to have very, very intense things happening all around you, above you, below you, in front of you, behind you, to your left, to your right. Your family turning on you, friends turning on you. You're broke, poor. People are going to get real jacked up out here. Verse 26. Actually, let's get perplexity in verse 25 before I move on. Get perplexity. Perplexity. The state of one who is in perplexity. So it doesn't give the full definition of perplexity. I do believe it means shocked. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to Google it. Get a definition, but it means to be baffled, puzzled. Yeah, so a form of shock. Yeah, you're shocked, confused. Verse 26. Men's hearts failing them for fear. So people out here are going to be having heart attacks. People are going to be out here having heart attacks from all the judgment and confusion and destruction. The indignation of the Heavenly Father is going to cause men and women to have heart attacks. And for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. So after all this mayhem, you're going to have this grandiose return of Yahushua. And that's really going to mess people up. Imagine you're a heathen, in particular the Edomites, and you see a so-called black men, right? The Elohim, the elect, Yahushua, that's the main point, Yahushua. And he's so-called black. And he's supercharged, and he looks like he wants problems, right? He's bringing the pressure. That's going to cause a lot of turmoil. This is Acts chapter 2 and verse 19. And I will shew wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. So the Heavenly Father is going to keep pushing out these signs, these omens for the dreadful day that's about to come. People are going to get caught off guard. We're not going to get caught off guard because Heavenly Father has imbued us with the truth. Now let's go into the Fed rate cuts. Get a good example of how the Fed rate cuts are negative for the average civilian. But does a rate... So I'm going to jump around in there, okay? But does a rate cut equal good news for everyone? Rate cuts tend to favor borrowers, but hurt lenders and savers. But what about ordinary households? Interest rates changes also have large impacts on consumer behavior and the level of consumption and economy can expect. This is because higher rates translate to larger borrowing and financing costs for things purchased on credit. Read on to find out exactly where this comes into play. The effective federal funds rate since 1954. So it shows you that super big spike in the 80s right there. The federal funds rate reached a high of nearly 20% between the 80s and 1980 and 81 to counter inflation resulting from President Nixon's removing the U.S. from the gold standard. So that's when Babylon really went left. What are interest rates? When the Fed cut rates, this refers to a decision by the FOMC to reduce the federal funds target rate. The target rate is a guideline for the actual rate that banks charge each other on overnight reserve loans. Rates on interbank loans are negotiated by the individual banks and usually stay close to the target. The target rate may also be referred to as the federal funds rate or the nominal rate. Mortgages. Typically, a rate cut lowers the cost of financing a home. However, the extent of this benefit from lower mortgage rates depends on the type of mortgage loan. So basically what this means is that the banks get more authority. The banks have the most authority when it comes to how these rates affect the typical citizen. How do interest rates affect consumers? Higher interest rates generally make the cost of goods and services more expensive for consumers because the cost of borrowing is higher. Consumers that want to buy products that require loans such as a house or car will pay more because a higher interest rate on a loan. This discourages spending and slows down the economy. When interest rates are lower, the opposite is true, but then the dollar is devalued. Who benefits from high interest rates? Generally, financial institutions, etc., etc. So interest rates makes it quote unquote easier for the economy, which proves the economy isn't doing too well. And on top of that, it weakens the US dollar because all this just leads to more inflation and businesses and institutions increasing their threshold. So let's go to James. Actually, let's get Ecclesiastes. Let's go to Ecclesiastes because all this is prophecy. The keepers of the house. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. So when you go into the keepers of the house, that can be used today for these people in the stock market, all right, the currency world, gold, so on and so forth. Because that's what's keeping everything going, flowing, keeping the house moving, running, functioning. Shall tremble. So these traders, these hedge funds, so on and so forth, are gonna be trembling. They're going to be perplexed in distress. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because there are few, and they that look out the windows be darkened. And the door shall be shut in the street when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up the voice of the bird. He shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. So we're seeing that now. Rap is falling off. You had this super explosion of rap and hip hop around the 2015, 2016. And if you look at from 2015 to, let's say, 2019, you had all these artists booming. You had, let's see, Young Thug, Trippie Redd, Travis Scott, let's see, Lil Uzi Vert, Gunna, Lil Baby, Famous Dex, Rich the Kid. You had all these artists, XXX, Tentacion, Juice WRLD, Lil Peep. Those three are dead. Ski Mask, Slump God. You had all these artists blow up big time, blew up big, right? And now, if you do 2020 till now, you have maybe 4 artists: Yeat, Ken Carson, Destroy Lonely, and you can throw in Sofago too. So if you look at the biggest artists currently right now, which would be of the 2020s, that rapper, because rap hip hop rap music is the biggest genre in existence. So when you look at Yeat, and by the way, Yeat is a Jake, man. They, people try to say that he's a so-called white. Yeat is a Israelite. His father's side traces back to the Northern Kingdom. And Yeat is currently the biggest rapper to come out in the 2020s era, the pandemic era. And Yeat is not even as big as Famous Dex was back in the day, man. Famous Dex was way bigger than Yeat is now. So what does that tell you about music? Music is being brought low. Now you got country overtaking rap. You got what's his name? Shabuzi. I like Shabuzi. He makes good music. Shabuzi. You got Post Malone, who probably is an Edomite, man. I never seen that dude as a Jake, to be honest. Post Malone, he switched over to country. I mean, completely switched over to country, from hip hop to country. Shabuzi was always a country singer. And then you have Beyonce make a country album. So country is starting to take over the music industry over rap. Of course, rap is still at top, but the music industry as a whole is being a bloodbath. And you have insiders talking about, let's see, Atlantic Records and I believe Universal just on Grim Reaper timing. Because why? These scriptures are faithful and true. That's why. And it's going to be a point where the majority of people aren't just going to have a job anymore. Hyperinflation, the robots, AI, and other disasters are going to cause even dramatic amounts of layoffs. And it's going to get real ugly. Real ugly. Let's get Genesis 47, because the Heavenly Father is going to plague Egypt yet again. This is Genesis 47 and verse 15. And when money failed in the land of Egypt. I'm going to stop right there. So the money failed in Egypt, and it's going to fail again in Egypt again, which is Babylon the Great. And all these people out here are going to get caught off guard. The overwhelming majority of people are not prepared for this, man. Over 90%. Over 90% of people are not prepared for a doomsday scenario, which is going to happen 100%. No question. It's going to be the doomsday is scriptural. Literally, doomsday is in the scriptures, and I'll get that after I read this. This is 2nd Ezra's 15th chapter and verse 6. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled. So once the Heavenly Father is tired of this wickedness, he's going to bring that judgment. He's going to be like, all right, this is enough of wickedness. Time to bring that hammer down. Time to bring that indignation down. That this indignation is going to target the wicked. The wicked, 2/3 heathen, Edomites, are going to get that fury of the Heavenly Father. Why? Because they're full of pride and wickedness. Now let's get that doomsday, right? This is 2nd Ezra 7:43. But the day of doom, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time. I'm gonna stop right there. So Doomsday, man, that movie, I love that movie, man. I really enjoyed that movie, Doomsday. It came out in 2008. Great movie. Only issue I do have is that the woman being so masculine in the movie as a lead role. That's not realistic. But that movie was really good. Doomsday. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a great apocalyptic type of movie. So let's get James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. And it's mainly talking about Esau, man, because Esau got his wealth through rape, rob, and murder of the earth, in particular the Israelites. And of course, these other nations and 2/3 that are under Esau's system of wickedness. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have reaped treasures together for the last days. So I seen this video of Esau, man, in the UK, I think. They were showing off his vault of gold. I mean, the whole vault was probably worth billions of dollars of just straight gold. Gold bricks stacked up. Insane. That's an insane amount of wealth. And Esau got all that through being a damn demon, man. A demon with power. That's how Esau got all his goodies. That's how his goodies are going to be taken away by the righteous with power. The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Now let's end this off in Revelation chapter 6. Because this is how bad it's going to be. Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So let's go into a measure. Let's break down what it's saying. A measure, a choinks, a dry measure containing 4 kotle or 2 satari, less than 1 quart, 1 liter, or as much will support a man of moderate appetite for a day. So what this a measure is basically saying how much a man can eat in a single day to not gain any weight or lose any weight, to maintain your size, your body fat, your muscle mass, whatever, that your functionality of your organs and things like that. That's what a measure means for a single day. So a measure of wheat for a penny. So let's go into that word penny, because these simpletons will think it's talking about a literal penny, 1 cent, today's standards. And that's not what it's going into, man, because you go into that word penny is denarion. And a denarion, it says right here, a Roman silver coin. In New Testament time, it took its name from being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC, increased to 16, about 3.8 grams. It was a principal silver coin of the Roman Empire from the parable of the laborers in the vineyard. It was seen that a denarius was the ordinary pay for a day's wage. So a single day of working, you see, a single day of working is going to be what? Feed you for 1 day of wheat. So 1 day of wheat would be worth your daily wage. So the average American works about 8-9 hours a day, makes about 16-17 hour, give or take, about 17 hour on average. So what is that? 17 times, let's say 8.5. 17 times 8.5. 144. That's spiritual. But of course, the taxes. So let's do let's say $135 a day to get just enough wheat to mix with some water, if you got the water, to support yourself for that day. Let's continue. And 3 measures of barley for a penny. So you could get 3 measures of barley, so 3 days of food for a penny. And I'm assuming just based off that wheat is better than barley, because wheat, from if you look at it, costs more than a barley. I've never had barley. I had rye. You know, you have the different grains. You have rice, oats, wheat, rye, and barley. Rye was pretty good. Wheat is typically the standard of the grains and the most popular, even in the scriptures. And then you have rye and barley. I looked it up. I looked up the wheat, barley, and rye of what people typically like the most. And from my understanding, people like in order: wheat first, rye second, and barley last. And if you go into, as you read Revelation 6:6, it makes it that wheat costs more than barley. And typically, if something costs more of the same, quantity, it typically means that thing is better. Typically, not always. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So it's going to be extreme hyperinflation out here, and people are going to get caught up in it. And it's going to get real evil from that, man.